Sitaram everyone. I would like to once again join our chairman by G. Vijay Bisram in saying a very special welcome to all of you who are gathered here with us this evening for Satsangh on this very sacred Sita Jayanti. I would also like to acknowledge all of you who have joined us online on our Facebook page. I would also say to you how happy we are to have you with us in virtual satsang. I would like to acknowledge the presence of our two other resident Swamijis, Swami Biswanathanandaji Maharaj and Swami Shivamritanandaji Maharaj, our Kirtan group, and all our volunteers serving at the different stations of the ashram. Devotees, this is a very sacred day, as I have said, and it is a time to reflect on the birth and life of Sita Ma, one of the great ideals of womanhood in Hinduism. Sita Jayanti occurs on the Naumi Tithi in the Shukla Paksh, the bright half of the month of Vaisak. In this chaupai from Balkand of the Ramcharitmanas, Tulsidas writes,
Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama.
एक बार भूपति मन माही भय गलानी मोरे सुटनाही एक बार भूपति मन माही भय गलानी मोरे सुटनाही
Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama.
गुरु गृह गए तुरत महिपाला चरना लगे करी विनय विशाला गुरु गृह गए तुरत महिपाला चरना लगे करी विनय विशाला
Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama. 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 Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama.
King Janak, in his middle age, even though his kingdom was thriving and his subjects were generally very happy, he had a secret regret in his heart. And what was that regret? That God had not blessed him with a child. And so he went to his guru, Ashtavaktra, and opened his mind to his guru, telling his guru about his sorrow. It was very similar to King Dasrath. The Chaupai says that Dasrath too was sad at heart because More Sutanahi, he went to his guru and he said, Gurudev, I have no son who will carry on my lineage. He fell at the feet of his guru and asked for his guru's help. And his guru said to him, "O king, because you have faith in God, because you have been a righteous king, because you have pleased God, even in your middle age, God will do something for you. You're asking for one son, but God will bless you with 4 sons." So similarly, King Janak, a great king, went to his guru Ashtavaktara and opened his heart to his guru, saying, "Gurudev, even though I have all the luxuries of the palace, all material comforts, yet there is a great sorrow in my heart, because every husband wants to be a father. And Gurudev, I have not been so blessed. God has blessed me with many gifts, but not with the gift of a child." Ashtavaktara. The word Ashtavaktara means 8 cracks or 8 breaks in the body. This, his guru, if you were to see him walking on the road, you might just turn away because his body was so broken that he walked like a deformed person. Why did he have those 8 cracks on his body? Because when his mother was pregnant with him, his father was reading from the scriptures. And this highly advanced child in the mother's womb listened to when his father was reading from the Vedas. And his father will make mistakes. Every time the father made a mistake, the unborn child will cringe. And a part of his body would break, so to speak, or crack like that. 8 times his father made mistakes in reading from the scriptures, and 8 cracks appeared in the body of this child when he was born. So he was born deformed like that. So herein we see that even in the mother's womb, the unborn child is very much conscious of what is happening in the outside world. Remember Prahalad, even though he was unborn when his mother was in the ashram of sage Narad, he was listening carefully to the words of wisdom from the great Rishi. And that was how he changed from having the nature of a demon to having the nature of a lover of God, a bhakta. So my point here is that external appearance is not necessarily a sign of one's spiritual level or high spiritual level of development. Because Ashtavaktara, even though he had 8 breaks in his body, he was born an enlightened being, highly advanced spiritually. He was the one who guided King Janak to reach the spiritual level that he reached. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, out of the kings, I am Janak. Janak had reached that high spiritual level because of the teachings and the guidance of his great guru Ashtavaktara. Look at Bhushundi. Bhushundi has the form of a crow, an ugly bird. But yet the king of eagles, Garud, had to go to listen to spiritual wisdom from Kagbhushundi. So do not judge a person by his or her outer appearance. Do not judge a person's spiritual level from outward appearance. A highly advanced soul might choose an ugly body for whatever reason. So his guru told him, "O Janak, God is very kind. Why don't you perform a yajna and ask God to bless you with a child?" And so, listening to the words of his guru, Janak decided to perform a yajna. It was tradition that the place where the yajna was going to be performed had to be plowed. Janak himself plowed that area that was identified for the yajna. As the field was being cleared and leveled, Janak saw among the shrubs a divinely beautiful baby. He was so happy, he thought that this was indeed a miracle from God, that even before he performed the yajna, the Lord was so kind that the Lord blessed him with this child. So rushing to the child, he took the child up in his arms, and hastily he went to his wife, Queen Sunaina, and he said, "Devi, this is a special blessing from God. This is our child." And so they both accepted that child. They called her Sita. Sita means the one who comes from the plow. As he was plowing the area he had identified for the yajna, that child had manifested, had appeared to him, so he called her Sita because she came when the land was being plowed. So they accepted that child as their own child, and they loved her with all their love. Sita grew up never wanting anything, any material comfort. Every material comfort was hers. They saw to it that she was provided with everything. And she grew up to be an exceptional young lady. In this next chaupai, Tulsidas writes,
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama, Ram Jai Jai Rama.
बन दुख नाथ कहे बहु तेरे, भय विशार परिताप गनेरे। बन दुख नाथ कहे बहु तेरे, भय विशार परिताप गनेरे।
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama,
प्रभु वियोग लवले समान, प्रभु वियोग लवले समान, सब मिली होहि न कृपा निधान, सब मिली होहि न कृपा निधान।
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama, 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 Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama.
King Janak used to worship the bow of Lord Shiva that was handed down from his ancestors. They were blessed when they were given, these ancestors were given this bow of Lord Shiva by a rishi. And so the tradition was that they would worship this bow on special occasions. In fact, every day they used to worship that bow as having the presence of Lord Shiva. That bow was so heavy that no one could lift it. It took many soldiers to move it from one place to the other. So heavy it was. So you can imagine the amazement of King Janak when he one day saw Sita was playing with this bow of Lord Shiva and moving it effortlessly, as if it were a toy. And he recognized that this child was no ordinary child. This was indeed a divine child. And so when she reached the age for marriage, he put down a condition: only her equal would be chosen to marry her. And what was the test to choose her equal? Only the person who could lift the bow of Shiva and string it. Only that person would be qualified, would be worthy of being the husband of Sita. And so he held the Swayambar to choose her husband. And all the great powerful kings of the world assembled in Mithila, each one hoping to win the hand of the beautiful Sita in marriage. But none of them could lift the bow. Even Ravan, the great powerful Ravan, Lord of the world, according to him, he had so many boons. Even he could not lift that bow and shift it and string it. We all know that it was the young prince Sriram who was visiting with sage Vishwamitra along with his brother Lakshman. It was Sriram who fulfilled that condition, and Ram and Sita were married. But the thing is that even as a young bride, when she returned with Sriram to Ayodhya, almost immediately she endured sufferings. You'd have thought any young bride, any young groom would think that when they get married, that period should be the happiest period of their lives, and indeed it should be so. But from the moment Sita arrived in Ayodhya, not long after, Kekai demanded her two boons that Ram had to go into the forest in exile for 14 years. And Ram tried to save Sita from the suffering because she was a princess living in the forest, in the jungle. Would indeed be very hard for her because she had grown up in comfort, in luxury, in her father's palace. So he said to Sita that, Sita, please stay here in this palace. I will go in the jungle. I will live for 14 years and I will come back. A young bride who is facing such difficult circumstances might be disheartened. Who knows what might be passing through her mind? But remember, one of the vows of marriage is that the husband and wife, when they tie that knot together, when they tie their clothing together, symbolizing they would always be together. For better or for worse, we would always be together. That is one of the 7 vows of a Hindu marriage. Sita had no regrets. Sita said that, O Ram, you have told me, my lord, of the many hardships of the forest, its perils, woes, and afflictions. But my lord, my parents have taught me that my place is by the side of my husband. Wherever he is, there I must be. O fountain of grace, all these difficulties and trials that you mention put together will not be comparable to the pain of separation from you. My Lord, if you were to go alone in the forest and leave me here, even though I might have material comforts, the pain, the mental agony I would go through would be indescribable. In fact, my Lord, when you would return, you'll not find me, because I would have long given up this body. For I cannot live without you, my Lord. I have to be with you, by your side, wherever you are. And here we see what is called in Hinduism a pativrat, a wife who sees the divine in her husband and treats him as a manifestation of her Lord. That is why a wife would call her husband Swami. Swami means Lord. You're my Lord, you're my Swami. And that is the reason why Hinduism has survived thousands and thousands of years of invasion from outside forces. It's the only ancient civilization which has survived to this day because of the pativrats, because of the women who have held on to high morality. That is why we place them on the altar. We see God as the divine and we worship them. We see God as divine mother. We see God in the female form. Sati, Savitri, and Satyavan, you know that story. That Savitri had given her heart to Satyavan. She very much loved him and decided that he was going to be the one she was going to get married to. But when his horoscope was read by the learned Pandits and they saw that he would only live for 1 more year, and that news was brought to Savitri, she was given the option that you could annul, you could stop going through with this marriage. Do you want to be a widow after 1 year? But she said, I've given my heart to Satyavan and I will think of no other. Whether he lives for 1 year or more, it doesn't matter to me. I will marry Satyavan. And so Savitri and Satyavan was married. Savitri was a great pativrat, and through the power of pativrat dharma, she was able to save him. When after 1 year Yamaraj came to take his soul, she was able to win him back. She was able to save his life. So Sita was that kind of pativrat. And she said, O Ram, do not think of leaving me behind. Wherever you are, my Lord, I must be by your side. That is what my parents taught me, that my position is always by the side of my Lord. My place is always by the side of my Lord. In this next chaupai, Tulsidas writes,
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama,
चरी करो पन मोरा एक बार बिलुको मम ओरा तव अनुचरी करो पन मोरा एक बार बिलुको मम ओरा
श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम
तीर्णधारी ओत कहती वैदेही सुमिरी आवर पटी परम सनेही तीर्णधारी ओत कहती वैदेही सुमिरी आवर पटी परम सनेही
श्री राम जय राम 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 श्री राम जय राम.
When Ram and Sita were living in the forest, they paid a visit one day to the great sage Atri and his exalted wife Anasuya. Anasuya was like a mother to Sita. Remember, Sita was still a young princess. She took Sita aside and with great love, she taught Sita about her duties as a wife. She imparted great values to Mother Sita. Anasuya too was a pativrat, highly developed spiritually, almost the same status in spirituality as her husband. Why? Because she served the Rishi Atri as her Lord. She saw the divine in him. And by serving such an exalted Rishi, with an attitude that he was her Lord, she too attained almost the same spiritual level as him. She is highly revered on earth and in the heavens. Anasuya. And so she reinforced those wifely values in Sita. So Sita was ready when she faced temptation from Ravan. Ravana was trying to win the hand of Sita to break her away from Sri Ram. One, because of her beauty, he was captivated by her beauty. And two, for strategic reason, he felt that if Sita became his, Ram will be so devastated that there will be no war. Ram will give up everything because Sita was his life. Ram would return. Perhaps Ram would take his own life. So in very sweet words, he tried to tempt Sita. And this is what he said to her. Oh Sita, listen to me. Look how you're suffering. You're wasting your beauty in the forest, and now you are my prisoner. Is it right? Ram is a beggar. I am the King of Kings, Ravan was saying. Which would you prefer, to live with a beggar, to suffer with Ram? Or to choose Ravan, the King of Kings, and live in luxury, live in all happiness? With Ram, you have a life of hardship in the forest. With Ravan, you will live a life of comfort. Think about it, Sita. Think of all the hardships you underwent. You just have to say the word, and I will make you my queen. I'll make you my patrani, my chief queen. Even Mandodari, my chief queen, she will be your servant. Mandodari and all the other queens, I will make your handmaids. I swear it, if you will look on me but once. With Ram, you're just an exile's wife. With Ravan, you will be the queen of queens. Nowadays, if that argument were to be put to the women of this world, I dare say many of them would fall for it, because that is the nature of the world nowadays. But look at this example that Sita is facing all alone, suffering as a prisoner of Ravan, and being faced with this temptation. What would she say? A lesser woman would have succumbed to this temptation. But what was Sita's memorable reply? She said, Suno Dashmukh. Listen, ten-headed, listen, Ravan. I have no use for the wealth and pleasures that you promise. They mean nothing to me. I've married a Rama, and I cannot take my mind and heart away from him. I, who held his hand, can never touch another, never. I am his, the princess, entirely and forever. What a powerful reply to this evil Ravan. Even in her helplessness, even though she risked death if Ravan became angry with her, yet her Pativrat Dharma gave her courage to speak with force, with power. She aptly responds to Ravan, you and all your pleasures that you speak of, they mean nothing to me, because I am a Pativrat. Ram is my Lord. My mind is ever on him, fixed on him. I, who held his hand, will never touch the hand of another man. That is my faithfulness. That is my fidelity. That is my vow that I've taken. And those words were so powerful that Ravan had to step back. Ravan could not touch Sita. Such is the power of a Pativrat. A similar story is told of Princess Sukanya and Sage Chavan. Sage Chavan was an elderly man, a sage, who the young Princess Sukanya, in her playfulness in the forest one day, she had blinded his eyes because he was so deep in sadhana. An anthill had formed around his body, and where his eyes were, she saw two holes, so she thought it was an insect, an ant nest. And playfully, she and her friends, she poked those two holes, and then she was horrified to see blood oozing out. So to atone for that wrong that she did, she offered to be his wife and to serve him as his eyes. And one day, she faced a difficult test where the divine physicians, the Ashwin Kumars, they offered to heal her husband, to make him young again, to make his eyes whole again, but on one condition: that after they heal him, they would heal him by ducking his head in the water of the lake. And they also will go down, and when they come up, all three will be identical. if Sukanya chose one of the Ashwin Kumars, she would have to accept him as her husband. Trusting in the power of her Pativrat Dharma, she agreed to that condition. And so, when her husband his head was pushed under the water, and the other two Ashwin Kumars, they also went under the water. When they came up, all three looked youthful, identical. No casual observer could decide which was the real Rishi Chavan and which were the Ashwin Kumars. But using her power of discernment that she gained by serving Seth Chavan with devotion, she was able to identify him. And so, by the grace of God, her husband became youthful and he had eyes, youthful like Shiva's. And so, they lived happily. So, this is the courage, this is the power of Ma Sita. This is an example she sets to all women of the world. Never succumb to temptation. You have taken the vow of marriage. Honor that vow. See the divine in your Lord, and you'll be blessed. Of course, there are exceptions. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking in general exceptions where husbands become like tyrants to their wives, who beat their wives, who ill-treat their wives. I will not advise such wives to stay with such monsters. Nowadays, the reverse is also true. Some women beat their husbands. Anyway, Sita sets an example to all the women of the world of what a true Hindu wife, what a true wife should be like. In this concluding doha, Tulsidas writes,
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Siya Ram Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai
Nisichara nikara patanga samam Ragopati bana krisano Janani hirdaya dhira dharu Jare nisachara jano Nisichara nikara patanga sama
Jai Jai Ram Siya Ram Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Siya Jai Ramchandra Ki Jai Sharanam.
And even in her darkest moment, when she felt all hope was lost and when she was considering ending her life because she felt that perhaps Sri Ram had forgotten her, the Lord sent help. In the lives of all true devotees, we find that happening. There are times when we face despair, when we face darkness, and we think of giving up. But those who never give up will find that even in those darkest moments, help will come. The Lord sent Hanuman, and Hanumanji gave courage to Sita. He said, Mother, the divine troops, the demon troops are like so many moths, and Raghunath's shafts are like flames. Be of good cheer, Mother, and take the demons as destroyed already. We all know what happened, that Sri Ram went and rescued Mother Sita from Ravan. Sri Ram and his army destroyed Ravan and the entire army of Lanka. But yet, Sita had to pass through the fire test. Sri Ram never doubted her purity, but he knew the nature of the world. And so Sita said to Agni, to the fire, "If I've been faithful to my Lord in word, thought, and deed, O Agni, do not let these flames harm me." And she entered the fire. Agni himself appeared in the fire and handed Mother Sita to Sri Ram, saying, "O Ram, Sita is purity itself." So dear ones, on this very special sacred day, I ask all the women of the world, especially my Hindu mothers and sisters, those who are married, and even those who are not married as yet, reflect on the life of Mother Sita, the example she sets to mankind. Try to follow in her footsteps. And by the grace of God, you too will be exalted to her level. I pray that Sri Ram and Ma Sita bless us all. Om Shanti, 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 Hari Om.
Thank you very much, Somji, for your inspiring and divine pravachan on this auspicious night of Sita Jayanti here at America Sivashram Sangha. Devotees, we will continue with our program. We will have one more bhajan, followed by a few announcements, and we will proceed to Guru, concluding our table acts by Anun Lisa to lead us in the bhajan.
नाम तुम्हारा हम रखते हैं, मान भक्ति का तुम रखते हो। आज बचा के सुहाग सती का मेरा वचन निभा सकते हो। कहाँ छुपे हो राजा राम, आजा राम, दीपक बुझा जला जा राम। कहाँ छुपे हो राजा राम, आजा राम, दीपक बुझा जला जा राम। नर नारी से है संसार, एक बिना दूजा बेकार। नर नारी से है संसार, एक बिना दूजा बेकार। पति से पार सती से पार, कैसे पार करे मझधार। पति से पार सती से पार, कैसे पार करे मझधार। छोटा साथ मिला जा राम, आजा राम, दीपक बुझा जला जा राम। कहाँ छुपे हो राजा राम,
आजा राम, दीपक बुझा जला जा राम।
रोको इन्हें नहीं जाने दो, अपने घर को फिर आने दो। कोई
Thank you very much for that wonderful bhajan. Thank you very much, Anu and Lisa. Devotees and friends, just a few announcements before we conclude with Guru and conclude in Arti. Project Seva, as I mentioned to you for the past few weeks, that we are doing amazing with the contribution with devotees and all the devotees who have been contributing towards Project Seva. We are doing amazing in Guyana. We're in May, the month of May, we will be distributing our food hampers on the east side, the east coast of Demerara, Clanbrook area on the east coast of Demerara, next Sunday, not this coming Sunday, next Sunday. So again, I would like to thank all the devotees who contribute towards our May hamper distribution and who contribute towards for the past months. I would like to thank them very much, and who have not yet contributed, you can see any one of our devotees at the information desk after Satsangh for more details how you can contribute towards this amazing project. Again, we are asking just $20 per family for a month. So each family we are asking for $20 only. So they have more details at the information desk after Satsang. Again, thank you very much for your contribution towards Project Seva. Devotees, I know it's summer and we don't have much activities and no special religious activity on our Hindu calendar for the next month. In the month of June and July, there's not much going on. So we are planning one grand yajna. The only event we have coming up is our Ramayana Yatra. It's a beautiful, beautiful 7-night yajna. It's organized by the American Sevashram Sangha, sponsored by seven wonderful devotees. And this yajna commences on the 19th of July through the 25th. It's going to be an amazing yajna all the nights. It starts promptly at 7:30 p.m. each night, and we plan to conclude at 9:30 p.m. Again, put aside that 7 nights for us. Put aside the 7 nights as we dedicate it to Bhagavan Sri Ram, as Swamiji will preside in this yajna, the 7-night yajna, and the discourse from the Sri Ram Charitmanas. So again, please put aside the date, mark your calendars, the 19th through the 25th of July here at American Sevashram Sangha. Spread the word with your friends and family. The invitation will be posted on our social media page. Continue to share that, and also continue to share our live satsangs or past satsang on our social media page. Also, we have our YouTube channel. You can view past satsang there who don't have a Facebook account like Janet Maharaj. I tell her she need to sign up for Facebook. Nothing wrong with Facebook. You just select your friends, who you want to be your friends. Right, Auntie Pansy? Correct, right? Good. Devotees, get vaccinated. As I mentioned to you last Sunday, you need to be vaccinated. It's very, very important. No matter what anyone say about negative things about being vaccinated, you need to get vaccinated. And now it become very, very easy now to get vaccinated. Like the Aqueduct location, you can walk in York location, you can walk in Jamaica Hospital, you can walk in, and remember the age group 13 years and up, it's available for them also, for the kids. So my son was vaccinated today, and he's 13 years old. So get vaccinated. It's for your safety, your family's safety, and us here at the ashram, all you wonderful friends and devotees of the American Sevashram Sangha. So I'm encouraging you to get vaccinated. It's coming to an end, and you all know that we will continue to wear our mask throughout our entire satsang and all our program here at the ashram until we've been advised, officially advised by the City of New York and the necessary authorities about lifting the mask, but we will continue to wear our mask here at the American Sevashram Sangha. Again, devotees, please do remember our yajna coming up the 19th through the 25th. Also, our Sunday morning satsang continue here at the ashram. We are welcome all the devotees here in person at the ashram. Also, all the devotees who join us online to continue to attend our Sunday morning satsang. Also, our Hanuman Chalisa Path every Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. every Tuesday night with our revered Swami Shivesh Maharaj. Devotees and friends, on behalf of our revered Swamiji, Swami Shivesh, Swami Shivamithanandaji, and Swami Biswanath, and our wonderful executive committee here at American Sevashram Sangha, I would like to thank each and every one of you for being a part of our Sita Jayanti celebration here at the ashram. Also, I'd like to thank all our wonderful viewers who join us online. Thank you very much. Continue to participate. If you cannot attend in person, continue to join us online for a live stream from the American Sevashram Sangha. We will now stand for Guru Concluding Arti. Please do remember, take out bhojan as we prepare. So it's available on your way out right after Arti.
Om Purnamada Purnamiram Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Sahasrat Shirsha Purusha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat Sabuni